All right, hello, and welcome to Afternoon Drive here on Joppa Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. Hope you're having a good Thursday, almost to the weekend. Can you believe that? Very exciting. Another beautiful day out there. Again, feeling like spring. That is a good thing. Very excited about that. Big show today. Very excited. We have a guest on who I've not had on before, a Newburyport guy, and well, he was a TV star for a while. You might remember him from his time at ESPN, and he's one of the best college basketball insiders out there. Has pretty much all the connections. Always a good read whenever you see anything college basketball. Jeff Goodman, who's now a analyst for WatchStadium.com, covering college hoops at all levels. So Jeff Goodman's going to come in and join us. Again, a Newburyport guy. I didn't even know that until a couple of years ago when Coach Dave Clay of Newburyport High School filled me in on that. They're good friends. So Jeff will be here in just a few minutes. We'll talk basketball, do all that stuff. Speaking of basketball, what a terrible job by the Boston Celtics. That was a horrible effort last night. Just what a way to go out on the season. Just kind of a complete dud. Those guys continued to just struggle in the final four games. They didn't look like they wanted to be playing with each other. I think that's it could be the last game for Kyrie Irving in town, and just a bad mix. Seems like a bad group of guys just not playing together. I watched the first half of that game, and I couldn't even watch it anymore. I ended up falling asleep to it because it was bad basketball. Better team won, and just a frustrating team to watch, the Celtics, all year. It was very promising, but I don't know, lack of leadership among other things, I think ends up being their demise there for the Boston Celtics. Busy times, though, still on the sports front. The Red Sox are they're about 40 minutes away from meeting with the president at the White House. At least a bunch of the Red Sox are. Alex Cora, of course, deciding not to go to the White House, the manager, as well as a lot of other players are deciding not to go. This has become a theme that is very common. Teams winning the titles and getting the invite, and a lot of them not supporting President Trump and upset with some of the things he's done and deciding not to go. Alex Cora, in this case, upset with the President Trump's lack of investment and lack of intention in Puerto Rico following those hurricanes. And he's been very vocal about it. He's not making a big deal of it. He's just saying he sees so much work to do in Puerto Rico. He doesn't feel like it's time to celebrate at the White House, and he's leaving it up to his players to decide whether they want to go. So kind of a weird situation. Those things have become more and more weird as time goes on, as far as with teams not showing up and players just very upset with what's going on at the White House. So Alex Cora will not be there today, though. Again, 3:45 in the Rose Garden for the Red Sox today. So we'll see how many players ended up going, how many ended up staying behind, all that good stuff. And the Bruins in action tonight at the Garden. The Eastern Conference Final begins tonight at the TD Garden. We have Bruins and Hurricanes, the former Hartford Whalers. For those of you who are old enough to remember them, the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Finals coming to Boston tonight, 8 o'clock starts. Kind of a late one. Hockey around here. The Bruins, they've been starting all these playoff games at 7, which is kind of nice. Done at 10 o'clock. Get to bed at a reasonable hour. Tonight going to be a little bit later. So all that stuff. And, I don't know. Busy time to be a Boston sports fan, though. Very exciting, even with the Celtics out. So as far as, let's see, what else is going on in the world today? You know that bank robber there in Somerville? Have you seen that guy? The picture's been all over the place. I can't believe this. Usually these bank robbers, they find pretty quickly. But that bank robber in Somerville, the police now are offering I think it's a $20,000 reward. That guy must have got away with some money there in Somerville, because they are very interested in finding him. $20,000 reward for a robber. It's funny, my town, my bank actually in my town of Danvers. Got robbed the other day. I don't know, something in the water there with the bank robberies right now. Very interesting. An East Brookfield man is charged with illegally operating a helicopter from his backyard. How the heck does that happen? These are the headlines of the day. Go dig up these stories. The feds say a man flew over 50 unauthorized flights from his backyard. Interesting. I guess he just landed in the backyard. I don't know. Small helicopter, but you must have a pretty big backyard. Springtime, all that stuff's opening up in Boston. You got these outdoor patios and all that stuff. Marty Walsh did a ribbon cutting for a bunch of the outdoor patios the other day. I love the outside, get all the outside eating and walking down. One of my favorite things is taking a Red Sox game at night and, you go down Newbury Street there, and sit outside for the day and have a nice meal, and then go to a Sox game or something. Beautiful there, time of year in Boston. So much to do in the city. It's a beautiful place in springtime in Boston. What else is going on? Oh, and Pope Francis making a big change in the Catholic Church today. I don't know if you saw that. Making it law, Vatican law, for people to report priests and nuns and sex abuse, and actually there's a whistleblower thing in there now too that protects the person that's doing the whistleblowing. So seemed like a good step from the Catholic Church in that regard after years and years of scandals. So and this was kind of the funny story of the day. On a much later note, I mentioned the Red Sox are going to the White House today. The White House official page writes, the schedule today, 3:45, the Red Sox are coming. We'll be hosting them, yada, yada, yada. They spelled Red Sox, SOCKS, like your pair of morning socks. How funny is that? And they didn't change it for like hours and hours. Pretty hilarious, but that's what they did. They did fix it this morning. Red Sox. That would be SOX. Red Sox. That's how we spell it around here. White House. All right, we got Jeff Goodman in the house. He's going to join me in just a second. Keep it here. My name is Drew Moholland. We'll talk with Jeff in just a moment. Should be a great interview for those of you who want to meet a guy who has really been through it all, major market television and all that stuff. So keep it here. My name is Drew Moholland. Afternoon Drive, Joppa Radio. All right, welcome back to Afternoon Drive here on Joppa Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. Happy Thursday to you. Beautiful spring day in Newburyport out there. I am joined by Jeff Goodman, one of the best college basketball analysts out there, a Newburyport guy, which I learned a few months ago. Jeff, how you doing? Good to have you in.
Yeah, good for the weather to finally break a little bit here. Let's hope we get a little bit of a May before the summer hits.
Finally, a little taste of spring, huh?
It's ridiculous.
You're traveling all the time, but I know this time of year you find yourself. Are you here most of the time?
Yeah, this is the time that I'm probably here the most, which lines up pretty well. I mean, my travel schedule's really heavy in July. Then I'm home in August, September. Then I go out on the road really from October till the Final Four ends.
Yeah.
And next week I'll go to Chicago. The NBA draft combine is in Chicago next week, so I'll head out and hopefully the weather will cooperate
and watchstadium.com for you now. I know a lot of people recognize you from your days at ESPN, where I think they probably had you on call 24/7. It seemed like you were on TV every time I turned on the college basketball coverage. But
yeah, it was good though. Like 5 years at ESPN, I never thought in a million years I would work at ESPN when I was growing up, because I'm a writer. I'm not a TV guy by any means. So going there, it was eye opening from a standpoint of like, what you have to do. I remember the first time I was on SportsCenter, I had gotten hired, and a week later, Brad Stevens was hired by the Celtics. Yeah. So I get a call, and they want me to go in, and the press conference was in Waltham at their practice facility. And 9 a.m. I'm on SportsCenter, and I'm like shaking, like legitimately, like what the hell is going on?
Are you not feeling that pressure here? Is that what you're saying?
I'm okay now. It took me honestly, it took me probably till year 3 to feel comfortable to where if I would stumble on a word during like a segment, it would kill me. It would affect me for the rest of the segment, where I'd be thinking about it constantly. Wow. And when I was done with the segment, it would eat me up. And then finally, like year 3, and it's reps. It's the same thing here. It doesn't matter whether you're TV, radio, whatever it is. Yeah. It's the same thing. You get enough reps, you get comfortable, and you screw up, and you laugh at yourself.
Yep. You got to be able to do that, right?
Yes, no doubt.
You're a college basketball guy, and I am too. Much more than the NBA, but with that being the theme of last night, it seems like there's a lot of people angry in Boston right now. Did you catch any of that disaster last night? Or?
Yeah, I sure did. I actually just got done recording a podcast with Bob Bryan. I do a podcast either once or twice a week, and I wanted to get somebody on that could talk Celtics, and there's nobody better than Bob Bryan. And
there is not.
We kind of hammered Kyrie together, and he's one of the questions I asked Bob was like, when's the last time we had somebody so unlikable for the Celtics? And the name he brought up was a guy when I was like 5 years. I don't know how old you are.
32.
All right, yeah, you weren't even born. I'm 47. Yeah. Sidney Wicks was the name he came up with, who I look back and I was like 5, 6 years old when Sidney Wicks played for the Celtics.
That was the one you came up. See, I was thinking more like Boston sports, because I had the same thought.
So go ahead. Who do you got?
I had 3 that came to mind. David Price.
Yeah, I figured.
Joe Thornton, Bruins.
Really? I like Joe Thornton.
I did too.
He didn't live up to. He didn't never lived up to the hype.
Yeah, when you're talking about star players, though, who
but likable as a kid. Joe Thornton was like the nicest dude in the world.
Yes, except for like the hardcore hockey guy who's like he never plays the body. He's not gonna, that sort of thing. And then he ended up. I
covered the Bruins back then. I actually covered before I covered college hoops. I covered everything. I covered Bruins. I covered a lot of Red Sox and Patriots and everything up until probably. I don't know when I went full time, like just college hoops and NBA, like 2006. Yeah. But I loved Joe Thornton was actually one of my favorite. He was so quiet. He didn't have that killer in him, but you looked at the body and you were like, all right, he should be like leveling people.
And now 20 years later, he kind of is that player. Believe it or not, kind of when you look at that has to be one of the worst trades like in Boston sports history. But and then Carl Crawford was the other one.
Yeah, that was one that, man, like the injuries and everything right away, they turned on him. If you don't get off to a good start in Boston, and you can't handle it, like which he couldn't, you got to have the right mentality. Kyrie's so different than all three of those guys, in a sense that. He's more unlikable as a person.
Yes, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like David Price, you could say maybe unlikable. He's rubbed some people the wrong way with his comments, how he's gone about it. Joe Thornton, nobody. And Carl Crawford, nobody really knew Carl Crawford enough to like dislike him. He sucked, and then he got hurt.
Right. Yeah, I think the Price thing too was, Price like teammates had his respect too. Like you don't necessarily feel that with the Celtics team. You almost there's like an inner rebellion. I'm not as tapped into it as maybe you are, but it did not seem like they enjoyed playing ball together. Yes,
that would be accurate.
Well, there you go. Kyrie, I love his game. He's unbelievable talent. You know, it just I don't know. I always question a guy too who walks away from, a good run. He had a nice little thing lined up with LeBron, in the Eastern Conference. Like you're gonna walk away from.
And you were going to walk away for it not knowing where you'd end up. Like, he was fortunate to be traded to the Celtics. He could have been traded to, like, Sacramento. Yeah. And never to be, not be heard from again for a couple of years. Instead, he's and I wrote this morning, he's in a great situation here in Boston with a coach that honestly has as little of an ego as anybody in Brad Stevens, with a bunch of good young players, with Al Horford, who's like the consummate professional. Yeah. And he's found a way to piss everybody off in that locker room, whether they'll say it or not, because they don't enjoy playing with him, because it's hard to play with him. And then he doesn't move the ball, dribble, and then when he gets off the court, he says all the wrong things, points fingers at the wrong, your teammates, just stupid.
And Brad Stevens, of course, I think he has that, NBA respect now too. He had it from college, but it seems like most of the NBA stars are speaking as highly as can be about him. Though it doesn't really seem like Kyrie necessarily enjoyed playing for him either. It just seems like he rubbed everybody in the organization the wrong way. So I don't know. Anyway, and if you covered him in college a bit, right?
I did.
So you got Coach K. Yeah. Did he have these headaches? Do you remember?
Well, he only played like
the 1 year.
Yeah, not even. He was hurt. So, he only played like 8 games.
That's right.
So he was barely in college in a way. Yeah. But, the one thing Bob Ryan and I were saying on the podcast is I said, I'm like, when you listen to him talk, you record it and post game, and then you go back and listen to it again, and you realize, like, he says nothing. Yeah. It doesn't, honestly, it doesn't mean anything. Like, he doesn't say anything that makes sense most of the time. And I think that's, again, I just think Kyrie thinks he's smarter than everybody else. Yeah. And I think that rubs him, a lot of people, including his teammates, the wrong way.
I can be honest with you. I'm almost sick of talking about the Celtics.
Yeah. I think people, I'm not a huge Bruins guy now, just because I kind of have to pick my spots with what sports I'm going to watch, because I travel so much. Yeah. So I'm going to watch college hoops. Yeah. I'm going to watch NFL on Sundays. Yeah. I really don't watch any college football, because I'm not going to tell my wife and daughter, well, I'm going to stay home on Sunday and Saturday. Right. Like, no, and I really don't watch hockey.
So you want to have an actual life, too? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, especially this time of year. Listen, I'll be walking around here. You'll see me all the time taking my dog for a walk. And, she's getting older, so I can't run her as hard. Usually I take her down to the park, throw the ball, and she'll go all day. Yeah. But she just turned 10. And we've taken her a couple of runs lately, and she's come up a little bit lame. Oh, yeah. So I'm like, all right, I gotta kind of reel it back a little bit and just take her for walks.
Yeah, I got a hound about 8 to 10. We're not exactly sure, but we just got a puppy to go with him. and I am finding a bit rejuvenating.
How's that going? The two dogs, they get along?
We had a interesting first 2 weeks.
Really?
A little bit of jealousy.
Yeah.
But the big guy's great with the little puppy.
No fights? No, like,
not really.
snapping a little bit?
Once. We got, and we put a quick end to it. A quick yell, and our older guy's really good. He's,
really?
The puppy just jumps on him all day long.
That's how I'm trying to get my wife to buy into getting another one.
Yeah.
The hardest part is, for me, again, she's doing a lot of the work because I'm traveling.
Yep.
Okay? And number two is, for the travel you want to do as a family, we don't have anybody. We've kind of gone through some options and tried some different things with when we're gone.
Yeah.
But it's hard when the dog gets older to trust somebody. What do you do as far as we boarded for a little while? We don't do that anymore.
We are lucky to have a lot of family around.
Really?
That is good. Yeah,
that's good.
Both from the North Shore.
Really?
So that is that's a big
plus.
benefit. Yeah, because we've never had to put them up in a kennel.
Yeah.
Even when we just had the one dog, we never had to do that. So
that's great.
I can imagine that being a tough
struggle. It is.
But yeah, I do love having the two dogs though. It's
all right, I'm gonna try to wear my wife
down. Roll back
down.
the tape here.
I'm gonna try to see what I can do. I don't know if I'm gonna win this battle, but
here. Well, hey, you are again Jeff Goodman here, college basketball insider. So why don't we talk a little college basketball, because it's the off season. Yeah. But boy, we got some stories, huh? How about all these investigations and what the heck, man? We got the high-profile court cases and all this stuff. What state of college basketball right now? You all right with it?
No, but I don't know how much it's going to change, because I think it's always been something. And it's the same thing in business, right? I mean, like, everybody's trying to get an advantage.
Yeah.
College basketball is no different. There's a lot of money to be made. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are trying to get to these kids.
Yeah.
And most of them, or a lot of them, don't have the best interest of these kids. So, right now we're seeing the second federal trial just wrapped up yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's a couple guys that nobody knows who the heck they are. Christian Dawkins and Merle Cove were found guilty. Dawkins is a former runner for an agent.
Yeah.
So he's a guy who basically tried to pay a bunch of people in order to get clients. Well, he tried to pay some assistant coaches, college, whatever. So some of these coaches ended up going to jail, or going to go to jail, because they were caught on wiretaps, taking money, taking bribes.
Recordings that are out there and being played. That's crazy to listen to.
So the big thing now is, now that these court cases are done, what does the NCAA do?
Yeah.
And we don't know the answer to that. There's been a bunch of coaches that there have been allegations about. Sean Miller at my alma mater. It's my alma mater. I'm proud about Arizona. Yeah.
Do you know him well?
Yeah, I do. So my daughter, it's the only, when you go to a school, it's the only gear that I have that I feel like I can wear.
Right. Yeah.
Arizona stuff, because I went there. And so, like, every other school I'll get stuff in the mail sometimes, and I'm like, I can't wear this. I give it to somebody or whatever. Yeah. So my daughter went to put on an Arizona sweatshirt the other day. I'm like, you sure you want to wear that? She's like, why? I'm like, yeah, you got to pay attention here.
You work through these things, though.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, Sean Miller, the deal with a lot of these guys is it's allegations. A lot of the head coaches aren't the ones that actually have their fingerprints on these deals that are made.
Yeah.
So the assistant coach for Arizona, Book Richardson, is one of the guys going to jail because he took a bribe. And ESPN did a story a little over a year ago, in which they put out a report that Sean Miller was on tape
that wasn't quite
with
accurate.
Dawkins for $100,000 involving DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
I was there at the time. I tried telling them, like, hey, I think we got the wrong guy here. I don't think it's DeAndre Ayton. If there is a tape, I think it's a kid named Brian Bowen, because that's who was really involved with this Dawkins kid. Anyway.
And Ayton was
Ayton was the number one pick last year. So we'll see where this thing goes. But with the NCAA, you never know, because they're such a screwed up organization. They move so slow. They've got people that aren't qualified to do these investigations.
Yep.
Running them, so we have no idea how it's going to play out. Like, it's almost like throwing darts.
Yeah.
And like, all right, we feel like, if we hit the board today, we're going to hit them with a year-long ban. If we don't, all right, we're going to give them a 5-game suspension.
It's uncharted territory, right?
Right. So we have no idea. It probably won't come down for at least another year, if I had to guess, with how quickly they move.
It's crazy, though, because the idea of the whole, I mean, everything has changed. The money's gotten bigger. The sport's gotten bigger. But you go back to that, what was the movie, Blue Chips there, right? I mean, that's paying players.
Shaq.
Not that that's a fully accurate.
Yes.
But,
they probably, but in some places, it's not that far off.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you got boosters giving $100 bills to recruits. You got, I mean, and that's the thing. If you're a head coach, you shouldn't have your fingerprints on this now because the way it typically works now is the agent will already have, by the time the kid gets to college, they already have control of a top player. Yeah. And they do it because they have control of AAU coaches. So they already have control of this player. They're going to send them to a certain school, certain university. And in turn, that head coach is going to say, all right, we'll make sure you get him back at the end of the day. So money doesn't have to change hands. Now, again, the agent, the financial people are probably paying the kid's family. The kid often doesn't even know what the hell's going on. Yeah. You know, I talked to a kid, Renardo Sidney, who was the number one player years ago, and he moved from Mississippi to L.A. He was living in $1 million mansion in L.A. at the time, which was 10 years ago. Yeah. And I said to him, didn't you know something was going on? He's like, yeah, but I was like 17. Like, I'm not asking my dad. I'm just whatever. Yeah. We're living. We got everything we want. We're living in Beverly Hills, $1 million house when we were broke in Mississippi. He's like, I'm 17. I'm not asking my dad.
And things were okay.
Right.
Yes. It's crazy. You think, and too, you get the college admission scandal going on right now. There's a lot. I mean,
and that's what I was saying. That's how business works these days, right? Everybody's trying to get ahead. I mean, I'm sure it goes on all the time in the financial industry as well. Yeah. Where people are making deals all the time. You don't think people have insider trading all the time.
Yeah. How about LSU? That guy survive? Looks like
it's a little different. Right? Yeah, it's a little different because Yahoo put out a report, very different than the ESPN report because they had the actual transcript of the call. Yeah. So I was kind of surprised that Will Wade survived on that, and instead they reinstated him right before the trial.
And boy, did he have a good team this year, man.
He did. Oh, and they could. I mean, they're going to lose Naz Reid, who's one of their top players in Tremont Waters. Those two are gone. The rest of the team could come back, but who knows? There's so much uncertainty. Yeah. Although I'm not sure they care that much down at LSU. I think they just watch Auburn and Bruce Pearl go to the Final Four. True. I think their whole deal is like, we don't care. Like, if you got proof on them, and I think a lot of fans are like, we don't even care if you got proof on them. Yeah. Let him coach.
He's got a lot of wins up there.
Yes.
I mean, Bruce Pearl had a great year too. I wondered, what are your thoughts on just kind of shifting gears a little bit? Like I said, I'm a big college basketball guy. I'm a Providence fan.
Okay.
When I went to school out there for many years.
Love Cooley.
Oh, great coach, isn't he? I've actually
great coach and great, like the best personality.
Yes.
Of almost any coach in college basketball. He's out of his mind.
Even on the inside, you feel that way.
He says
better. He's as great to the public as can be.
I'll give you a good Cooley story.
All right.
So one of the first times I met him, he's an assistant coach at Boston College. Yep. This is going back, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago. Right? Yep. And we're at ABCD camp, which is like the biggest camp. It's in Teaneck, New Jersey. Yep. Everybody's there. And there's a kid playing named Ramel Bradley, who ended up going to Kentucky. And this was earlier on, and he's watching. We're standing next to each other watching Ramel Bradley play, and he looks over at me. He's like, hey, because coaches aren't allowed to talk to kids at these camps, but I can. I'm just a recruiting guy at this point. Yeah. And he goes, hey, do me a favor, go up to the kid Bradley and just tell him that Boston College is offering me a scholarship. And I said, come on, right? Really? You want me to do that? He's like, yeah. I go, but you can't do that without Skinner hasn't even seen the kid. Yeah. He's like, trust me, just go do it. and that told me all I needed to know about Al Skinner and the fact that it really didn't matter what Al Skinner was. And I wrote it, and I remember Bob Ryan wrote it too when he got fired or right before he got fired. Great coach developing players, but man, was he lazy.
Yeah, really, especially recruiting.
Yes, did not want to recruit at all. Didn't really, and part of the problem was he wasn't going to sell a kid a bill of goods. He wasn't going to tell a kid what they needed to do. He wasn't a salesman. He wasn't going to say, hey, come here, and you're going to start. You're going to play 30 minutes. It was come here, and maybe they'll earn some minutes. And kids don't want to hear that.
So that probably explains why, because I have always wondered how Al Skinner didn't land he had a great Boston College team. I remember that was kind of when I was getting into college basketball back in the day, was watching the local BC.
Dudley was awesome.
Yeah, Troy Bell.
So you were even earlier.
So, I mean, those were just fun teams to watch.
Yep.
And just a local team making a run, which was nice.
Remember the kid Ryan Sidney?
I do.
Remember that? He was a killer.
Because he did, 2 years?
Yeah, and then he got thrown out.
Yeah, and then I think he played. He was playing like Division II ball or something somewhere.
But really talented.
He was, man. What a spark! He was coming off the bench. He was like the sixth man.
Yep.
That was like my team with remember like Jonathan Beerbaum. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
name.
Of course.
I love those guys. But I was always wondering, Al Skinner, like that guy. I thought was a great. BC's never been back.
They haven't. Now, what I'll say, everybody kills me about that because I said honestly, I thought it was the right move to get rid of Al Skinner. They had 2 out of when he got fired. They had 2 of 3 losing seasons.
Yeah.
So they were trending downward.
Yep.
The problem was they hired the wrong guy.
Yes.
They hired an Ivy League guy who wanted to recruit Ivy League players to Boston College, and Steve Donahue could not get that done. And now they've hired Jim Christian, who I remember sitting down with the former athletic director, Brad Bates, and he asked me about some coaches. And the name I gave him, you'll know this name, I told him, go hire Mike Hopkins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was at the time the Syracuse coach in waiting.
Yeah.
And he didn't end up hiring him. He hired Jim Christian instead. Now Mike Hopkins is at Washington, thriving.
Yeah.
Everybody likes Hop in New England. And he would have signed. I think part of the concern was, well, if he comes to BC, does he leave after 2 years to take over for Boeheim? Yeah. And my take was, I'm telling you, he'll sign something saying like he'll have to pay $10 million unless he stays. You got to keep him here for like 4 years.
And Boeheim's is he going to be there forever? I don't think he's actually even shown any signs of leaving. Right? Maybe a little bit.
Right. No, you're right.
The BC is one of those schools where I am now, like I said, I'm a Providence fan of my adult life, but kind of an anti-BC guy now. I don't know what it is about going to see basketball games. Yeah. It's a tough environment.
Unless they got it going, it's not a great environment.
And what they really got me with is they ruined. Well, not them. I understand the business aspects of it, but I will always hold a grudge against BC, Syracuse, and who else ruined my Big East?
Miami.
Miami. All right.
Yes.
That was my favorite conference.
Oh, it was great.
They've survived. I like.
We'll see what they do the next few years. They've started to come down to earth a little bit because Villanova has. Yeah. But it's been way better than I thought the Big East, the new Big East would be.
I mean, I think I still think it's the best conference tournament out there.
Well, because you got it at the Garden. Yeah, that's the thing. Part of it is where it's at. Yeah. I've been to all these. I was just this past year. I went Big 12 to Big 10, and they're good. Don't get me wrong. They're really good. You should try to go to like everyone once. Yeah. But Madison Square Garden, there's something about the Garden, especially when you have good teams. Now again, it's a lot harder now because you don't have the Syracuses and you got St. John's, but they've been crappy, and Georgetown's been crappy lately. You need, to me, in the new Big East, although Villanova's been great, Xavier been good, like Creighton's, the Butlers have been better than we thought, but you really need St. John's and Georgetown. Yeah,
you do, and they're getting away from the alma mater coaches now with Mullen gone, and although Patrick Ewing is doing kind of a good job, right? Okay job, yeah.
This will be year 3. This will be an interesting year because he's finally got the talent.
This is his group, right?
And honestly, like, Georgetown is a hell of a job. Like, Georgetown's one of the better. I mean, think of all the talent in the area. Like, that's what's about. Like, Maryland and Georgetown are 2 jobs that may not be like top 10, but they're 10 to 20 in the country because you have so much talent that you can drive to in that area in D.C., Maryland, Virginia. You're going to get players by default. You and I can get players.
It's interesting.
We might not even have to pay for them.
And I was I'm just thinking when we're talking about conference tournaments too. How about that Ed Cooley story with the Big East? I was at that Big East championship game where was that 2 years ago when Providence storms back to send it to overtime. First nobody got Ed Cooley with the towel around his waist.
So awesome.
That's a great personality moment, huh?
He's just. I interviewed him a few years ago at a tournament in L.A. the Wooden, and on TV I was doing sideline. And, you get some coaches will do it in game and most won't. Most want no part of it. He's like, I don't care. I wish I could find the clip, but he said something. He talked about, like, Jesus saving us. Like, he was kidding, but, like, it was, like, the greatest quote ever in the middle of the game. He doesn't care. I mean,
I don't think I realized until I lived there during college for all those years, like how much of a basketball city Providence is.
Huge,
I had no idea.
Huge. Nobody does.
I lived right here my
Their
whole life. Their
fans are awesome.
Unbelievable. I guess they don't have football or anything, so I mean I think that plays a role. But they fall in love with that team.
And they get a little bit inebriated too when they're there. That helps. The students get after it a little bit.
And it's one of the few. When I was in school, it was one of the few places you could go where you could actually buy a beer because it's off campus.
And you know it. There when you're there, and I'm right in front of the student section. Some of the things you hear, you're like, "Whoa, that came out of Providence!" Like it's very underrated.
It's a good Catholic school, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But it's a fun place to go see a basketball game, and I still think it's
it is good.
Great conference.
They'll be good this year again. They'll be good.
Yeah, hopefully just a little bit of a down year.
Yep.
But you could tell they had some talent. But it is a fun time to be a college basketball fan. Did you enjoy the tournament this year? It was
I did. I mean, Virginia winning it all. Like it was the storybook type ending, right? I mean,
that
a year
seems
ago.
Like a great dude, the head coach. Am I right on that?
He's a little vanilla.
Yeah.
But like it's kind of what the sport needed, right? Like obviously they lose to UMBC a year ago in the first round, the first #1 seed ever to lose
and we're down
in the first round.
16 at the break in round 1 this year.
I was there. I was at that game at Gardner Webb. I'm like, oh my God! Like, I remember talking to Ty Jerome right after the game. We were walking down the hallway together. I'm like, so. What was the pressure like? He looks over at me. He's like, yeah, the pressure, it's real.
Yeah.
And it was just cool to see those kids with everything they went through. Like Kyle Guy told me stories about how people, after they lost in the first round, UMBC, kids, like drunk kids, would Venmo him, asking for like $2.
Wow.
And I'm like, why? He's like, just because they were drunk fans. They were like blaming me. For losing the UMBC and
it's a tough thing to happen to a college kid,
right?
I don't care how mature you are, but man.
So that was cool to see, and I thought it was good for college basketball to have a clean team win it all.
Yep.
I think that was underratedly important this year.
No, I think so too.
So it was kind of cool. It was cool to be there for that.
It felt like, I'm certainly, you're actually close to these programs. I am not, but it felt like it seemed like the basketball insiders they were just kind of rooting for Tony there and then those guys, which was you could definitely feel that. How do you feel about that broadcast team, by the way? I'm a Big East guy, like I said, so I've had Bill Raftery in my life since I was they're fantastic. I was watching that game. I hope Raft never goes away from.
Nance is awesome.
Nance is great.
Raft is great. Grant Hill,
yeah. I could probably do without.
Well, here's my problem with Grant Hill, and he's an incredible human being, super smart, all that. But you're the part owner of the Atlanta Hawks, I believe, still.
Oh, is he? I didn't even know that.
I believe he's still the part owner of the Atlanta Hawks.
No kidding.
And you're doing a broadcast? I think that's the case. I'll have to check if he still is.
Weird.
But like
those lines are getting blurred a lot.
Oh,
aren't they?
you think? The journalistic lines are incredible now. Like to me, everybody's like selling out of like whatever you got to do. These conflicts of interest. It's tough to keep up with.
Again, joined here by Jeff Goodman, college basketball insider. Final couple minutes with him. I know you got a busy day, so we appreciate you sneaking it in with us, man. This is fun, talking some hoops and everything in your off season, but it's really no off season, I guess, right?
A lot of transfers now.
A lot of transfers.
That's what the deal is now. Providence got I think 3, at least 2.
Yeah.
A kid from North Florida who's pretty good.
Okay. I turn my attention in like another month or 2.
Yeah, no, that's smart. That's smart. Well, it's NBA, it's now NHL, and soon it'll be football. And
does it ever get dry the off season stuff, or is it? It seems like it really wouldn't. There's throwing a few court cases.
That, and then I'll go to the combine, the NBA draft combine in Chicago, all of next week. The lottery's Tuesday night.
Yep.
Then the combine is the rest of the week. Then I'll come back home. There'll still be transfers. I'll get ready for the NBA draft, and then I'll go away right after the draft. I'll go away with my family for like 10 days. Where are we going? I got to get this right. We are going Amsterdam, Barcelona, and oh my God,
that's a big one though.
Yeah, so we're doing that for like 9 days, and then I get home, and then the next day I go to Augusta, which is like the big AU tournament called the Peach Jam.
Okay. Yep.
They have it there every year. So I'll get home and get back on a plane the next day, do that, and do a bunch of recruiting stuff in July. That's kind of how I came up. I came up doing recruiting.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of helped me, and I kind of stick to that and get to know these kids and watch them when they're younger in high school and AU. Yeah, it helps. And then August is kind of the month that I will be down at Michael's drinking outside plenty.
Yeah.
And going everywhere. Like, I eat out way too much.
Oh, me too.
Like, I should probably rank all the places here.
You'd probably be a good guy to go to.
Oh, I could do it all.
Yeah, yeah.
I could, like, I've been to
Do a whole show?
Like, Loretta's is my spot.
Yeah.
That's my, like, I've never had a bad meal at Loretta's. Ever.
Been to Loretta's, Lily?
You gotta go. No?
Probably.
It's a good spot. Downtown, it's just like, you know you're going to get a good meal, good desserts, a lot of bread pudding for desserts, good stuff. But they're good restaurants. And we live, and this was, when we moved here like 6 years ago, it was one of those things where we weren't sure where we came from. Framingham, which is like the opposite of Newburyport, right?
Is, yes.
Complete opposite.
Route 9 living.
That's all I did. I went to Fun and Games when I was a kid, and the mall, and we were like, where do we live? Do we live close to downtown so we can walk downtown, or do we get more for our money and a little more land? I have a 15-year-old daughter. She was 9 at that point.
Yeah.
Not an athlete at all, so we didn't need a yard for anything other than the dog.
Dog, yeah.
So we got enough, and we moved. We're basically a half a mile from downtown, so we walk downtown all the time.
It is a great downtown, isn't it?
Awesome.
Especially when the weather gets nice.
And we walk on the water. Like, we're down off Merrimack.
Yeah.
So we literally just cross the street, and we walk on the water pretty much every day.
It's beautiful.
Awesome.
You ever go to the break cart there with the dog?
The what?
Was it the reservation there? The what's it called?
In Salisbury?
No. What do they call it? The running track there with all the room and the hills. Oh, what's the name of it?
I don't think
High school
so.
team runs there. I'll get the name for you before we leave.
Can you go? Like, are there a bunch of dogs?
Oh yeah, and you can let them off the leash.
Really?
Run through. Yeah. Oh, it's a little hidden gem. I just discovered it a few weeks ago. Actually, we took the dogs. We drove up from Danvers.
Where are you from originally?
I am born and raised in Danvers.
Okay.
And I went to school in Providence. Lived in Hudson for a few years with my wife, and now
Where'd you go to high school?
Back home, Danvers High.
You did.
Yep. So Danvers High School grad.
So you're not a big Pat Connaughton fan with St. John's Prep over there? Not too far?
Yeah,
he's a
funny.
great kid.
Yeah, he's a couple years.
You know where he
younger.
lives?
No, I don't.
Now? Hampton Beach. In the off season.
Really?
I screwed up last year. I was supposed to meet him at Ocean. Have you been to Ocean Walk?
Yes. Yeah.
Best Chinese food place around here.
Yeah, it's good.
So we had it all set. We were going to meet. Like, this time of year, they'd already been knocked out of the playoffs. They come back. A lot of these kids come back, and they'll work out around here. George Niang's another one.
Yep.
So we're supposed to meet.
He was a Boston kid, right?
Methuen.
Methuen. So he was one of those guys. I always kept yelling, like, how does BC not get that kid?
Yeah, because Steve Donahue didn't offer him early.
It's unbelievable.
Didn't offer him, but Iowa State did.
Yeah.
So anyway, Connaughton and I blew off by mistake last year. We were supposed to meet for lunch. All of a sudden, I get a text. He's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "Oh man, I totally forgot. Something came up, breaking news or something. I totally forgot." So I told him the other night. I was like, all right, Ocean Walk, it's on me this year. It's on me. Even though you make like 10 times more money than me.
Oh, well, he's having a nice little career for him,
he's been awesome.
And how's Mike Bray? Another great guy.
Oh, my God.
Another guy that jumps off the pages.
Mike Bray is like, if you're going to list college coaches that you want to have a beer with.
Yeah.
Bob Huggins is probably one, and I've done that.
Yeah.
The problem is you can't have one beer with Huggins.
Yes.
You're going to have like 14.
I believe he got in a little trouble for that back in the day.
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
Mike Bray would be top 5 for sure.
Really?
For sure.
So
awesome.
It's good to hear that those are
awesome.
Those are true. Sometimes people don't. What they are is what they are when you see them.
That's Bray. Bray is what he is. There's no pretense, no BS. He is what he is.
Yeah. Again, Jeff Goodman, thank you so much for coming on. WatchStadium.com. We get a lot of high school kids on here and kids that are kind of looking to find their way.
Yeah.
What's your best advice for the high school kid that might want to love sports, wants to be in the business someday?
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, there are two things, like work ethic.
Yep.
It sets you apart, and network, and get out, meet people. You know, there's a fine line, right? You don't want to be a pain in the you-know-what. But you also need to meet people and stay in touch and be creative how you do things. Like that always, I'll get a million resumes from kids and everything like that. But if you can hit me with something different that I'm going to be like, whoa, okay, that was unique. That's how, that's going to set that kid apart where I'm going to remember that person forever.
Yeah.
I think that's what you have to do, especially, do an internship. When I was, and again, I'll date myself, but when I was coming out, like I did my first interview when I was 13 years old with James Worthy.
Yeah.
And I went down to the hotel.
That, huh?
Yeah, I went down to the team hotel when the Lakers played the Celtics, and literally asked him and went home and called him and recorded it. And so, you got to be, again, assertive without being overbearing.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. That's great advice, I think. You ready? Have a great trip for you. Going away with the family. Sounds like good. I just came back from South Carolina golf weekend.
Did you? Where'd you go?
So we did Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, Myrtle's good.
I've never done it before. It was really awesome.
South Carolina's awesome.
Yeah, I had actually
You got to go to Charleston. You ever been to Charleston?
I have not. My buddy, one of my best friends, is living there now.
It's big time. Yeah. No, you have to go down.
Gotta go.
Well, the food, the bars, the beach, the shopping. Like, I might honestly, if I could afford it, I might retire in Charleston.
Really?
The weather's all. I mean, that's the hardest part of living here. Like,
I know, yeah.
We're gonna get 4 good months right now.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're gonna literally get June, July, August, and maybe September.
It's beautiful for those 4 months.
It's awesome. Awesome.
The locals down there, they literally say that to you.
Yeah.
I mean, Boston, what are you doing down there?
I say it every winter. Every winter, I'm like, why am I here? But again, Newburyport, so much better than Framingham.
Oh,
so if you're gonna live in this weather, at least live in this city, where, like, again, it's just beautiful.
Yep.
You can I walk 100 times more than I never walked in Framingham. Never. Where am I going to walk? On the highway, and
Route 9 to the Cheesecake Factory, right?
Exactly.
I always said that was the best thing we ever did was get a house early in Hudson, and just because we would never have been able to move here.
Right, to afford it.
Yeah, we were able to, kind of make some money on the first house, and it kind of took that pattern and worked out for us. So and now we're back to a place we want to be on the beautiful North Shore.
That's awesome.
Well, it's great to meet you, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
We'll do it again. We'll make it an annual thing.
Absolutely, man. Right. Appreciate it. And have a great summer.
Thanks. You too.
Around here, it's going to be beautiful.
Thanks,
optimistically thinking. Jeff Goodman, thanks so much for joining us. We'll take a quick break. We get a few more minutes here to finish out strong. Keep it here. My name is Drew Moholland. It is Afternoon Drive on Joppa Radio. Welcome back to Afternoon Drive here on Joppa Radio. My name is Drew Moholland. Thank you very much to Jeff Goodman. He was fantastic, as I knew he would be. A Newburyport guy there. Anybody who watches any college basketball knows Jeff Goodman. He is kind of got his fingers on the pulse of everything. When it comes to college basketball. So we appreciate that very much. You should follow him on Twitter, too, because he's a great Twitter follower. Like he said, he's a outstanding writer. So not that you get too much, you're not going to get too many full-fledged articles on Twitter, but they'll take you to those. And he is at Goodman Hoops, at Goodman Hoops on Twitter. So very cool. Big thanks to him. Tyler Neufeld, producer segment for the final 10 minutes. How are you, bud?
Good.
Good to see you. You going to New York for the weekend or what?
No, I'm going to, I'll be here because we have the opera, but also today I'm going to go do some basic electronics classes.
Oh, sweet.
In Somerville.
Wow. Mm-hmm. How'd you get into that?
I found a posting.
You sought it out.
Well, technically my mother found a posting.
Oh, gotta love mom.
Gotta love mom.
Good stuff. Well, that's exciting.
So yeah, I'm actually leaving right after this.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What do these classes entail?
I don't know yet. They said they're going to teach basic circuitry, soldering, which I've done before. But,
yep.
They say by the time you finish, you'll know how circuits work and you can read schematics.
Yeah, yeah.
Which will be nice because I want to learn how to do that.
I bet it will be. Very good. That was did you catch any of the Jeff Goodman? I know you were out and about doing things for the station here, but very interesting guy. Good advice for the kids. Internships, work hard, be creative.
Yeah.
There you go. If you want to be in the radio business, right? That's what you do. That's what you got to do.
Well, any business, you got to be creative, work hard.
See, that's well said. Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer. What's so? What else is on tap for the weekend? Anything good?
Yeah.
Got so much stuff you can't even get your head around it.
There's a lot of things going on. I have to do more work. Even though I'm not going to New York, I have to go down to. No, I don't have to go down. Still working on the album.
Yep.
Some of the band members will be going to the studio to do mixing. I have to. Well, I don't have to, but I should. Otherwise, things that I don't like will be done.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have to listen and make notes with timestamps.
Did you guys rehearse before you went into the studio this time?
Oh, it's just mixing now. We're not.
Oh, you're okay. Everything's laid down.
Plan. Yeah, gotcha. Everything's laid down.
Are you kind of the go-to guy with that
for mixing?
Yeah, I feel like you're a good. Got a good ear for that stuff.
I'm not. I haven't. Yeah, I mean a little bit. I like to think my tastes are good.
Give me a little more bass, a little less drums.
I mean, we have an engineer do it because we pay them because they're professional. But we have our input. 3 of us though all worked at WFUV down in New York.
Yeah.
Doing audio engineering, and then I also did
Are you guys college buddies? I don't think I've ever asked you that before.
Yeah, we're all college buddies.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So you met and started a college band?
We started a college band, The Stereotype.
I can't believe that hasn't come up before. That's kind of cool. I definitely did not realize you guys were all college friends.
Yeah, all college buds.
That's very cool.
And our newest member, we also met in college as well. He's been with us for 2 years now.
All Fordham dudes?
All Fordham dudes.
Could be the band name. If you ever need to rebrand. I think
I'm pushing for it again, but they're mad.
What is the band name?
It's Red Sun Radio.
Red Sun Radio?
Yeah.
What? I have no idea. What's the? Yeah.
It was
random.
Well, initially, the first time we played a show, it was Paper Mache Mountains, which was awful.
Paper Mache Mountains. Yeah.
Our lead guitarist came up with that. We went, oh boy. And then the next one was Drowsy Joy, which was even worse. I'm still upset about that one. I had to pick up my friend from Port Authority, and I said, like, if you come up with any ideas, we can discuss them. Like, I went off, came back, and they said this is the name. There's no changing it. So eventually they agreed to change it, and someone came up with Red Sun Radio, and I was like, you know what? It's not great, but it's better. I'll take it.
You want to know a funny band name story? I was out with when I was in my younger days at WBZ, and I was out with one of the anchors there, and working those early morning hours. I think it was like noontime or something, and we had gone to a bar, and it was in Brighton, and I was living in Brighton at the time, so I was walking distance from my house. And long story short, we had ourselves quite the afternoon, and so we're there, and both of us cannot remember this, but I remember the moment where we had this moment, and I said something, and he is a musician too, and he goes, "That is like the greatest band name ever."
What is it?
Unbelievable. To this day, we cannot remember. We brought it up like, what was that? I remember him asking me like days later. I think it was a Friday, so we had the weekend and came back Monday. And what was that name you said again the other day? And he's snapping his fingers, and I'm like, I can't think of it. Shoot. I have no idea what I said. I remember the moment, but I don't remember what I said. And to this day, we still joke about it. We cannot remember the band name.
Maybe you'll have an epiphany or something.
Maybe it's taken. Maybe it was like
maybe. I actually have a whole list of possible band names.
Do you really?
I've had a couple running lists, but I've lost them.
I don't think you want to put them out there in public.
No, I mean it's fine.
Okay, go for it. I like it. It's funny. I'll rate them 1 through 10.
Let me find it. Hold on there, because every time I add to it, it jumps around. There's a lot, so maybe I won't read all of them. One of my favorite ones, this is not a band name, but I'll just start with it. There's, did you know that Italian fascists in like the 1930s and 40s made clothing out of milk?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they took the protein from skim milk and made it a fabric. And then they made propaganda about it, and it was called like milk of war or militarized. I can't say that.
Militarized, yeah. That's a tough one.
Insane. But I just put that in here as well because I thought it was really funny. One that I liked, Bush. You'd have the intersection of Flatbush and Bushwick.
Yeah. So if you already have Bush, then you get confusion because you get
Yeah, Bush. Well, I liked it.
It's good though. I'm giving it a 5 because of
5. Okay, fair enough. We had Fat Elvis. It's already taken.
5.
Yeah, 5. They're not the Side Hill Scroucher. I like that one.
5.
5. Yeah, man.
I get tough. Come on.
Tough.
I'm gonna have room to go.
They're not great. Now I'm.
They're not great.
Now I don't want to say.
Don't be demoralized. I'm just leaving room to really rate the good ones.
There's not. There's a reason there's a list, and they're not our band name. They're not great.
Well said.
All right.
You get any more? You want to shoot with one more? I hurt your confidence. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I've already thrown these out before. This one is. I feel like this would be a good, maybe, indie project for someone. Not for me. Like some folky kind of thing, like Lord of the Manor. I feel like that would be kind of.
Oh, I like that. Oh, I'm giving that a 7. Especially with the folky background. I like that.
I think it'd only work for that.
Yeah.
Lord of the Manor.
Game of Thrones in the air. No. Did you watch that?
I've seen half of the season premiere of season 6.
We've been through that. Oh, yeah, that's all you watched. That's right. We've been through this before. I'm not going down this road again.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy. I'm jealous of you because you have it all someday to go back towards.
I'm going to try to watch it.
Greatest story ever told.
That's a bold claim.
Yeah. When my buddy said that to me one day, and I was like, that's a fantastic line. I'm using it. Thank you, Ned. What was I going to say? Red Sox are at the White House right now.
Oh.
Meeting with the president for the championship last year. Oh. Most of them are anyway. Alex Cora is not there, and a bunch of the other players who are not big fans of the president. But it's kind of a weird thing these days when these teams win the championship and some of them decline to go.
Yeah,
and,
it's got to be uncomfortable for everyone involved.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they should probably just do away with them. But then again, it's a big honor to go see the actual building, the White House. You don't get to do that all the time. Even these professional athletes, sometimes some of them never get a chance to see the White House. So it is a good opportunity. But it should be interesting to see. Hopefully it just all runs smoothly and then we can stop talking about it. But
it won't.
Yeah, there'll be something, right? There's always something.
There's always
something. It started this morning. Did you see on the official White House government page, they spelled Red Sox?
With a CK?
Yeah, like your morning socks. How about that? SOCKS.
Ooh, wow.
Boston Red Sox.
Who was in charge of that one?
I felt bad, actually, because, every news organization, certainly around here, and it just made national news. Obviously, that's something that's going to make national news. And I always picture one,
intern.
Maybe not even an intern, but just somebody who's just not a baseball fan and just trying to get up and do a good job in the morning and get that schedule ready and just becoming a news story all day. She's probably having a cup of coffee or and going. That was me. Yeah. So that's tough.
There was a lot in the news today. It was action-packed. There was that. I need to read about that ship that the U.S. captured, the North Korean ship.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
That happened after my shift this morning. That happened while I was sleeping. I took a little nap this afternoon.
A little nap. Welcome.
Ooh, how about that, huh?
Oh, what happened?
I'm refreshed. I'm ready to can do anything now with a little nap.
It's kind of the reverse of, what was that ship they captured in the 60s?
The U.S. captured?
No. North Koreans captured a U.S. ship in the 60s.
Oh, yeah, I don't know the name. Is that sort of feel to it, though, you mean? The story?
Well, one more time.
Yeah, this has that kind of feel to it? Is that what
I don't know. Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I just know that they have, in the past, they still have it. They captured a U.S. ship in the 60s, and now we have this. I don't know what kind of ship it is or circumstances. I have no idea.
The sea, that's the stuff at sea is crazy. I remember in North Korea sent off a couple of projectiles this morning, too.
Yeah.
And then, we send all our ships in those certain directions when those things happen, and we're monitoring. Crazy. It's a crazy world we live in. That's our last show of the week. I was away, so it feels like this shouldn't be the last show of the week, but it is.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend, man.
You too.
Tyler Neufeld. I appreciate it. And a big thanks to Jeff Goodman as well for joining us from WatchStadium.com, college basketball analyst and Newburyport guy. It was great to have him on. Learned a little bit about the business. Hope you guys enjoyed that too. Lily Doucette, thank you. Don't forget, all our shows available online after the broadcast. Go to ncmhub.org. Click on the top right for SoundCloud or the YouTube link on the top right as well. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great weekend.